Some cities look incredible online. Perfect photos, iconic landmarks, dream destination, but once you actually visit, the experience doesn't always match the expectations. So the real question is, are these cities overrated, or are we just expecting too much? In this video, we're looking at some of the most overrated cities in the world. Not to say they're bad, but to understand whether they're still worth visiting, because sometimes a place can be overrated and still worth the trip. Cancun is often marketed as a tropical paradise, with images of white sand beaches, turquoise water, and luxury resorts attracting travelers from all over the world. And in many ways, it truly is. The beaches are beautiful, the weather is warm year-round, and the infrastructure is designed to make travel easy and comfortable. But the reality can feel a bit different from what some travelers expect. Much of Cancun is centered around large, all-inclusive resorts, crowded beaches, and a highly tourist-focused environment. This can make the experience feel less authentic, especially for those looking to connect with local culture or explore beyond the main hotel zones. At times, it may feel more like a resort destination than a traditional Mexican city. Still, that doesn't mean it's not worth visiting. For travelers looking for convenience, relaxation, and a stress-free vacation, Cancun can absolutely deliver exactly that kind of experience. Athens is one of the most historically important cities in the world, often considered the birthplace of Western civilization. One of its most iconic landmarks is the Acropolis of Athens, which sits above the city and offers a powerful glimpse into ancient Greek history. For many travelers, seeing the Acropolis alone makes the entire trip worthwhile. But outside of these famous landmarks, the city can feel quite different from what people expect. Athens is a busy, lived-in city. Streets can be crowded, graffiti is common in many neighborhoods, and the overall atmosphere can feel more chaotic than the polished image some visitors imagine. This contrast can be surprising, especially for first-time travelers. Still, for those who appreciate history and culture, Athens remains a fascinating destination. When you look beyond first impressions, the depth of its past and its significance in shaping the modern world make it a place that's truly worth experiencing. Los Angeles is one of the most famous cities in the world, known for Hollywood, entertainment, and its global cultural influence. But it's also one of the most misunderstood destinations for travelers. Many people arrive with certain expectations, and the reality of the city can feel quite different at first. Los Angeles is extremely spread out, which means getting around can take time. It's not a city that's easy to explore on foot, and transportation can feel challenging if you're not prepared. It's also not always as glamorous as people imagine. While there are iconic spots, much of the city feels more everyday and less polished than expected. However, if you approach Los Angeles in the right way, focusing on specific neighborhoods, local experiences, and unique areas, the city starts to reveal its character. From creative districts to coastal views and cultural diversity, Los Angeles becomes a much more interesting and rewarding place to explore. Dubai often feels like a futuristic dream, a place where modern architecture and ambition have completely transformed the desert landscape. Luxury is everywhere, from high-end hotels and shopping malls to impressive skyscrapers that define the city's skyline. Massive attractions, indoor experiences, and record-breaking buildings make Dubai feel larger than life. But for some travelers, this highly curated environment can feel a bit artificial. Many of the experiences are carefully designed and built to impress, rather than developing naturally over time like in older cities. Because of this, the city may feel less authentic to those who are looking for deep historical character or traditional culture. Still, that doesn't take away from what Dubai does exceptionally well. If you enjoy modern luxury, innovative architecture, and spectacular experiences, the city delivers exactly what it promises and often exceeds expectations. Bali is often seen as a tropical paradise with images of lush rice terraces, beautiful beaches, and peaceful temples attracting travelers from all over the world. And in many ways, parts of the island truly live up to that image. there are still places where you can find stunning landscapes, quiet nature, and a strong sense of local culture. However, in some of the most popular areas, the experience has changed over time. Traffic congestion, large crowds, and the effects of over-tourism can make certain parts of Bali feel busy and less relaxing than many people expect. Places that once felt quiet and untouched can now feel more commercial and developed. Still, that doesn't define the entire island. If you're willing to explore beyond the main hotspots, Bali can be incredible. Smaller towns, less crowded beaches, and inland areas offer a more peaceful and authentic experience that reminds travelers why the island became so famous in the first place. Paris is one of the most iconic cities in the world, known for its history, art, architecture, and romantic atmosphere. But with that reputation comes extremely high expectations. Many travelers arrive imagining a perfect, almost cinematic version of the city, and that's often where the disconnect begins. Unlike any major city, Paris is busy, noisy, and full of everyday life. Crowds fill popular attractions, streets can feel hectic, and not every moment matches the idealized image people have in mind. This contrast can be surprising, especially for first-time visitors expecting a flawless experience. However, once you begin to see Paris for what it really is, a living, working city with its own rhythm, the experience becomes much more rewarding. Instead of chasing the postcard version, exploring neighborhoods, cafes, and local life reveals a deeper, more authentic side of Paris that many travelers end up appreciating even more. Santorini looks almost perfect in photos, with its iconic white buildings, blue domes, and dramatic views over the sea. These images have made it one of the most recognizable destinations in the world, especially for sunsets and romantic getaways. But in reality, the experience can feel very different depending on when you visit. Santorini can become extremely crowded, especially during peak travel seasons. Narrow streets fill with visitors, popular viewpoints get packed, and prices for hotels, food, and activities can rise significantly. Because of this, the overall experience often depends heavily on timing. If you visit early in the morning, during the off-season, or explore less crowded areas of the island, Santorini can feel calm, beautiful, and truly magical. But at the wrong moment, in the middle of large crowds and peak hours, the same places can feel overwhelming. That contrast is what defines the experience for many travelers. Bangkok is vibrant, energetic, and full of life from the moment you arrive. The city moves fast with constant activity happening on every street and around every corner. But for first-time visitors, that energy can also feel overwhelming. The heat can be intense, traffic can be heavy, and the noise of the city never really stops. Busy streets filled with cars, motorbikes, street vendors, and crowds create a sensory experience that can take some time to adjust to. At first, it may feel chaotic and unpredictable, but for many travelers, that chaos is exactly what makes Bangkok so special. The street food, night markets, temples, and lively atmosphere create an experience that feels authentic and unforgettable. Once you embrace the rhythm of the city, what once felt overwhelming often becomes exciting and even addictive. Rome is full of history and iconic landmarks, making it one of the most fascinating cities in the world for travelers. Every corner seems to tell a story, from ancient ruins and grand piazzas to famous sites like the Colosseum and the Roman Forum. But alongside all that history, Rome can also feel chaotic, crowded, and intense, especially during peak travel seasons. Long lines at major attractions, heavy traffic, and busy streets filled with both locals and tourists can sometimes make the experience feel overwhelming. At times, moving around the city requires patience and planning. Still, despite these challenges, the depth of history and cultural significance is impossible to ignore. For many travelers, even with the crowds and the chaos, Rome remains a destination that leaves a lasting impression. Amsterdam looks calm, beautiful, and almost picture-perfect at first glance. Its canals, rows of narrow historic buildings, and constant flow of bicycles create one of the most recognizable cityscapes in Europe. This combination gives the city a very strong first impression, one that feels relaxed, charming, and easy to enjoy. But the reality can feel much busier, especially in the most popular areas. Crowds of tourists fill the streets, especially around the city center, and prices for accommodation, food, and activities can be quite high compared to other destinations. The strong tourist presence can sometimes take away from the quiet atmosphere people expect. However, if you explore beyond the main areas and into local neighborhoods, smaller streets, and less crowded canals, Amsterdam reveals a different side. In those moments, the city feels calmer, more authentic, and much more enjoyable for many travelers. Being overrated doesn't mean a place isn't worth visiting. It usually means expectations are too high, and when you adjust those expectations, the experience often becomes much better. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more honest travel guides. And if you know someone planning a trip, share this video with them. Before you book your next destination, make sure it's worth the trip. I'll see you in the next video.